All right, so going back to December 6th, 1997 today for channel member Wally P. The Palace at Auburn Hills, Detroit, we'll call it. The night before the Nutter Center show, a lot of people's favorite show from a lot of people's favorite tour. Certainly one of the best from one of the best, I guess would be my opinion. And all right, so we get a Golgi apparatus starter here. And I know it's probably because I've been listening to some Grateful Dead, starting with the Dead 60 Sunday, Trey playing Mission in the Rain, listening to Jerry play that song, and then just a few other of my favorite Grateful Dead songs here over the last several days. And in Golgi Apparatus, for one of the first times ever, I really felt like I heard Jerry and Trey as a little solo part, kind of halfway toward the tail end of the song, maybe even Trey solos there. And it was just so loose and relaxed, really, for even by Golgi standards. Maybe it was just the tone, the sounds of the time. Obviously, this fall '97 had a very distinct sound. Golgi, not necessarily a song that's fitting that sound. So I don't know if you're familiar with this song, or maybe you've heard that before in Golgi, but to me, I just really heard it, and I know, like I said, it's because I've been listening to way more Jerry and Dead than I usually do. So then, Run Like an Antelope, very relaxed. You know, sometimes you hear the expression like antelope on steroids. This was like maybe not antelope on Quaaludes, but definitely some indica for sure. Very relaxed, almost very patient, even if I can say. Now, I had recently listened to the 1994 Antelope, was anything but relaxed. You know, they're screaming, going crazy in that one. So, getting off to a really good start here with Golgi and Antelope. Train song coming in early in the show. Mike Gordon getting involved that way. Now we get a little bit of the start of that '97 funk sound in the Bathtub Gin Jam. Getting into Foam, I did not know how they were going to work Foam into this year, and it started out very weird. Early on, Foam, it's just weirder than normal, and which was a good thing, really. The weirder you can make Foam, the better. And then it kind of got back into a more normal Foam, I guess you could say, if Foam can be normal at all. And then there's parts of that weird beginning part. I don't even know if they were really playing it exactly right. And then Sample in a Jar, I gotta say, for an officially released, this is on the Live Phish app, maybe one of the worst sounding shows on there. The Sample in a Jar specifically, it's just like all cymbals. It's just not a very good Sample in a Jar. Part of the problem, the recording, no megaphone on the fee. We had a long stretch there with no megaphone on the feed. May's always going to be a powerhouse. Trey really just going to town on this one. There was they stretched it out a bit. You know, maybe not as relaxed, not nearly as relaxed as Antelope. Nothing really relaxed about it. Playing, you know, allowing Page to do a little bit there in the beginning, but it eventually just became a big Trey wank fest. But May's, no matter the era, always going to be a powerhouse. Cavern ending the set. Then we get over here, so a very strong first set, I'll say, but not necessarily like a classic fall '97, not like Hampton or the Spectrum or even the Nutter Center the night later. Now we start to get into that over here, though. So we start out with Tweezer, and the first half of the Tweezer opening the set, you know, it just stayed very much within Tweezer, very low key, very funky, starting to get into it, and then the second half kind of became more of a sounded like something from a late night, or at least late in the set, really. A lot of Trey. Again, didn't sound great, a lot of effects, but that takes us into a smoking, rockin' Izabella, then that takes us in, the jam in Izabella, believe it or not, takes us truly into the fall of '97 sound there. And then that leads us into Twist, and you know, the Izabella didn't have nearly the length the Tweezer did, but I definitely think so far, at this point, that would have been maybe the song of the night for me. Then we get into a Twist beginning there. It sounds like Mike and Trey almost playing two separate Phish songs, not even really dueling, but just playing off of each other. It gets into a nice twist, which really just delivering us our way into Piper. Not a full-blown slow build Piper, but not the Piper we know today, where it just off to the races. They eventually get off to the races. Kind of like the Maze down here. Trey going to town. Sleeping Monkey, after just a raging Piper, not really being able to find that necessarily the classic fall '97 sound. Didn't really matter. Then Sleeping Monkey, Tweezer reprise. We finally need to cool off a little bit. And then a Rocky Top ending the night. Near Detroit. It was a rocky, not really a lot of rocky anything. Some rocky soundboard release, maybe. But other than that, yeah, like I said, a very good show from a very good tour. And I tried my best to just treat it as a standalone show. Not all this comparing. I'm sure I did a little bit of that. Try not to carry on too much about the times. I did a little bit of that. Wally P, boom. Thank you for being a member. Spud, if you're there, the man. I started to dig into that show. First place I looked on YouTube, first thing I saw was me recapping that man show from '94. Boom. We're out of here. Choose another if you want, though.